First off, let's talk about what you guys get with the machine. So obviously you get the machine, a gun, a ground clamp, but some other goodies that are included. They do throw in, the titanium throws in some consumables, a couple extra tips and nozzles, and a little spool of wire. Whereas the Century, you know, you get the machine, you do get the one tip and the one nozzle, but if you look right here, you know, welding wire required, and it's not included. And then some of the other options, you know, it doesn't throw in any consumables. So keep that in mind. Titaniums get a little extra goodies, Century nothing. The overall layout of these machines are identical. You got a ground clamp in the back, your two infinite control knobs. Yeah, the knobs themselves are a little different, but you got your gun outlet and your ground clamps. Layout, identical. This may be the reason why you guys are picking it up, but both are indeed 110 power. No special, you know, 220 power needed in your garage. So ground clamps, the Century does come out on top with this one. There is a difference. They both are just a simple, very cheap stamped steel ground clamp. So I would suggest going out and getting another one for either one you pick up. The thing I do like about the Century, if you can see here, it's got a full connecting face, I guess you can say, whereas the titanium has this little opening, so when you bite down, you really only get a couple contacts to the, you know, to your piece, whereas this guy gets two full length ones. You know, if your metal's clean, these should both work just fine. Problem is, you do got to make sure the metal's clean. And for both of the MIG guns or Flux guns, whatever, I just know it's not a spool gun. So these are pretty similar, very similar in size, but the thing I like best about them is they both come with flux core nozzles. Very nice, I like it. People like to claim, let me grab here. People like to claim that you should use a MIG nozzle all the time, but in reality, no, that's not the case. When you're flux core welding, you don't have any gases to flow into your weld. So that's the point of the MIG nozzle, is it directs that gas. Whereas flux core, this makes it nice. All this guy is doing is protecting these threads, which really, threads from what? You need to make sure that the threads for your contact tip are protected. So really, these aren't even required. And if you watch my other videos, you can go watch the Harbor Freight, the cheap 125. I don't even use any of the nozzles. I just go straight like that. And guess what? It works great. You want to know why? Because you can actually see your weld. You can see the puddle as you're going through. Very key point when you're a beginner welder. Moving on underneath the hood, and well, look at those two wire feed systems. They are identical. Seriously. No, seriously, I am not kidding. Those guys are identical. Short of maybe some of the, you know, the screw head sizes, like these guys are a little smaller than the titanium, but argue all you want. These two wire feed systems were made in the same China factory and shipped off to the assembly plant for each of these. So, well, I guess it's good to know that they're interchangeable. Just another side note. Let's try to zoom in here on these guys. This is just your simple panel right here. Nothing fancy. But the titanium does have a cold wire feed button. If you watched my unboxing video, I did not tell you about that because I didn't read the instructions. Holy cow, look at what I missed. So I wasn't going to take off the panels, but I did just because when I saw that the wire feeds were the same between the two, I thought, kind of had a little fear that they might be the same underneath. Well, anyway, long story short, they're not. They are completely, completely different machines underneath. I'm not going to go all AVE on you and take apart every component because I probably won't be able to get it back together. That's all I'm going to touch on that. Let's put these guys back together. Man, is this guy ever going to get to welding? Okay, I promise after this we'll start some welding. So the last thing I want to talk about is some of the features underneath the hood. Uh, Both of them have your basic tables of what settings to use on thickness. Of course, man, that one's really kind of hard to see. Gotta go grab my glasses. In short, the titanium, it's nice, big. It does give you both wire sizes, a 0.03 and 0.035. As a duty cycle, not that anyone really cares. It's kind of like, hey, you're gonna go till the machine shuts off, right? So it claimed it can do from 18 gauge up to 3/16. I believe it. You can watch my other video. I'll probably link it up above. That I think it can do 3/16. You might want to do a couple extra passes. In short, the 90. Man, I'm gonna be able to zoom in there. That's a bit better. So the Century 90. The interesting thing is, it says that it only has 0.035 suggestions, and the contact tip is a 0.035. So I didn't even look at that before. Yeah, well, yet another reason why to read the instructions, right? In short, it's got 0.03 wire in it, and hey, maybe that will give us a better comparison. Maybe we'll take a look. But it gives you the same minimum of 18 gauge, and this guy only says up to 8th inch steel. In short, titanium claims they can do higher amount or higher steel. Guess what? Here in a little bit, I'm gonna test this machine up to 1/4 inch. So let's finally get to welding. So here's the lineup for today. If you notice, some of these pieces already have some welds on it, and that's because as I was going through my scrap pile, I noticed I still had a bunch of welded up pieces from my titanium thickness test. So, well, what better than to do an exact side-by-side piece. So we're going to start out with the 18 gauge. So that's what I did with the titanium. We'll do an exact same bead all the way down for that. I'm going to do I guess we'll bump it up to the 1/8 inch. We'll do, your fillet weld right there. Then go, that's the max for the Century as it says. But of course, we got to bump it up even more than that. We're going to go up to 3/16 and end on 1/4 inch. We'll do an exact same weld pass as we did with the titanium. Show a real side by side. Well, there's no surprise that they both weld. So just to give you an idea, this was the 18 gauge, this was the titanium, this was the century, whatever you want to call it. And you know, I ground off the welds and everything just to show you, hey, if you want to do some auto body work, it can be done. I'm not sure if you can tell in the video, I actually burnt through on that piece at the very end with the Century. I think the settings were maybe a little hot, but hey, that means you can do a little thicker material. Here was the 1/8 inch up on top. I was just messing around, kind of get in there. Maybe the well was a little bigger than needed to be, but that was the, let's see here, zoom in. That's the titanium, that's the Century. Bumping it up to the 3/16. Now I kind of you know, went off the chart for the FX-90, but I think it still did a pretty good job. This was the titanium, this was the Century. You know, did a good job. It didn't go all the way through, so if you're doing 3/16, you're definitely going to be making another pass. And just for the heck of it, here was the 1/4 inch. Again, titanium, Century. Kind of did some starts and stops. I think the weld on that one, the titanium, definitely looks better on that. But then again, like I said, this is 1/4 inch. Neither of these machines claim they can do that thickness, so I would stick with your lovely pop art stuff that you're going to be doing in your garage if you're doing something thick, and leave the structural stuff to a lot bigger machine. Okay, obviously these two machines weld. They weld great. Depending on which one you pick up, you know, you can work with it, and seriously, you can almost get identical welds. No surprise there. The one thing you may want to pay attention to is titanium comes with a couple consumables. It comes with those extra nozzles and tips and wire. So you're looking at about 10-20 bucks more just to get you started with the Century. And then price wise, you can go out today and buy both these welders for 200 bucks. Harbor Freight, or about, I think at Home Depot and maybe Lowe's has this. So the only other thing to keep in mind is Harbor Freight, man, they go on sale like every other week. So this thing I've seen go on sale already for about $169 and maybe $179. Either way, you can pick this one up a little cheaper. So if that's the deal, if that's the deal breaker for you, then wait till this goes on sale, go pick it up. And if you don't have a Harbor Freight next to you, then you know what, you'll be happy with this as well. Go on over to Home Depot and grab it. Just don't forget those extra consumables. So there you have it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.